This is going to be an in-depth review of every game. We're going over stats, game flow, and my own thoughts and takeaways from each of these games. So please feel free to sit back, relax, and enjoy as we go through our first matchup of this past weekend, which was a game between the 4-seeded Carolina Panthers and the 5-seeded LA Rams in the NFC. This game kicked us off on Saturday afternoon, and we saw the LA Rams take down the Panthers with a final score of 34-31. A very high-scoring affair, and a lot better of a game than I think many of us expected from the Panthers, though it was the outcome. I think we almost all were thinking. I think Terry Bradshaw was the only one who was sagging when everyone else was zigging in the picks. So, with this game, we had the Panthers starting off with the ball, and it was rough right off the bat. On their first drive, they immediately go for 4th and 1 from their own territory, and not even that, not a great spot to go for it. You're going against a great offense that most likely will capitalize if you fail this. But Dave Canales going extra aggressive on his own 45-yard line with the entire game to go, and the Panthers don't get it. So the Rams take over, and they immediately capitalize with a drive that features 3 different Puka Nacua catches and a Puka Nacua touchdown. So after that, the Rams and Panthers trade a few possessions, and then we see the Panthers with the ball, and Jalen Coker is trying to settle in a gap in the Rams zone defense, but unfortunately Bryce Young is trying to throw it to him in stride, so you see a miscommunication between the two, and what ends up happening is Young throws it straight to a Rams defender, and luckily for him, the defender had DB hands, so he didn't catch it, bobbled it backwards, but then it gets caught by a different Rams defender. So we have our first interception, our second turnover by the Panthers in the first few opening minutes. So the Rams once again operating on a short field. They cash it in again, but this time on a Puka Nacua rushing touchdown. And so now the Panthers already find themselves down 14-0. They need to get some points on the board before things get ugly, and they do. They manage to drive down the field and punch it in with a Chuba Hubbard rushing touchdown to make it a 7-14 game. After that, the Rams take back over. They score a field goal to push it to 7-17, and then the Panthers get the ball and they go 3 and out. But to the Panthers' favor, so do the Rams. Finally, the Panthers' defense is able to get a stop, and that allows the Panthers to catch a break. Except not really, because as the Rams are kicking off to the Panthers, I don't know his name, the second Etienne brother is doing punt return work, and the lights were too bright. The ball bounced straight off his face mask, and he muffs the punt, so the Rams recover. Spelling disaster for Carolina, setting up the Rams at the 41-yard line, and the Rams, they pushed the ball about 20 yards from where they recovered it, but they are faced with a 4th and 3, and luckily the Panthers defense stands tall, so they can't convert, and the Panthers avoid any more points getting added to the board. Then on the final drive, we see the Panthers get a big defensive pass interference penalty, and an even bigger completion after that to Jalen Coker to set up a Bryce Young touchdown run. So now all of a sudden, a half of football that felt completely dominated by the Rams offense, where we saw an interception, a fumble, and a missed 4th down by the Panthers. They're only down 3 points. It's only Rams up 17-14. In the second half, the Rams received the opening kick, and they're met with 3 straight incompletions by Matthew Stafford. The Panthers respond with a 13-play drive that results in a field goal, so now it's a tie game, 17-17. After that, the Rams kick a 42-yard field goal on the following drive and retake the lead, 20-17, and the Panthers get the ball back, but they go for a 4th and 3, and this time they don't get it again. So Matthew Stafford and the Rams take over, and as they're driving down the field, Stafford throws a pass intended for Devontae Adams, and Mike Jackson makes a leaping grab, jumps real high up, and snatches it out of the air to regain possession for the Panthers. Then we see both offenses trade rushing touchdowns. The Panthers score with Chuba Hubbard once again, and the Rams score off the legs of Kyren Williams. So at this point, the Rams are now leading 27-24 with 9 minutes left. The Panthers, they go 3 and out, and the Rams on the following drive move the ball a little bit, but another special teams mishap, and they get their punt blocked. Earlier in the year, I believe the Rams fired their special teams coordinator, and they still can't get away from the special team woes. So the Panthers take the late lead with a 2 minutes and 31 seconds left off of a Jalen Coker touchdown catch. And so, with the game and the season hanging in the balance, Stafford and the Rams will get one last chance to keep their Super Bowl hopes alive. They drive the ball down the field, and with 38 seconds left, Stafford completes the perfect pass to Colby Parkinson, and he musters his way to the pylon after catching it just short. So now it's the Panthers' turn, down 34-31. All they need is 3 points in order to take this game to overtime. So Bryce Young and his crew set up, and they got 4 straight incompletions, sadly. So the Rams seal the deal, and they win this first game of Super Wildcard Weekend. What a game. What a game to kick us off. I know a lot of people, myself included, were dogging on this Panthers team just because they made the postseason with a losing record, the NFC South special. So naturally there was a lot of discontent and underrating. And the Panthers came out and balled out against this Rams team for the second time this season. Proved a lot of people wrong. Though Bryce Young had his mistakes, he settled in, the defense settled in, and they made it very difficult on the Rams. It really was anyone's game until that final drive. Some key stats from this game. For the Rams, we have Matthew Stafford, 25 24 of 42 passing with 3 touchdowns, one interception, and 304 yards. For the running back, we've got Kyren Williams, 13 carries for just 57 yards. And in the receiving game, the Rams were led by Puka Nacua with 10 catches for 111 yards and a score. As for the Panthers, Bryce Young goes 21 of 40 for 264 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Chuba Hubbard has 13 carries for 46 yards and 2 big scores. And finally, Jalen Coker paves the way for the Panthers wideouts with 9 catches for 134 yards and a touchdown. Based on what we saw on screen, I'd like to elect an offensive and defensive player of the game. And my offensive player of the game will be going to Puka Nacua. Puka's final numbers, he finishes with 13 touches for 125 total yards and 2 touchdowns. And really a bulk of this game in the first half. I will say Puka could have had an even better day right at the end of the first half. He dropped a wide open pass that very easily could have gone for a touchdown, and he was nearly crying on the sidelines about it because you just don't see that from him. But another double-digit catch day over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Though Coker gave him a great run for his money, the error between the twos, I would say, had Coker not been involved in that interception, we might have seen this go his way. But ultimately, the drop was not as harmful as an interception, I would say. So I lean Puka Nacua on this one. And for defensive player of the game, I'm going with someone from the losing team. I'm going with Mike Jackson of the Carolina Panthers. He really heated up in that second half. The Panthers defense as a whole clamped down. Felt like Mike Jackson did a pretty good job with big hits on Devontae Adams. There were a couple times where it was questionable if Devontae was going to be able to get up and shake it off, but he's a big boy. But yeah, Mike Jackson finished the game with 3 tackles, 4 pass breakups, and 1 interception. Fantastic game by him. And for my play of the game, I would have to give it to Matthew Stafford and Colby Parkinson on that go-ahead touchdown in the Rams' final possession. It was not exactly a deep shot, but 20 or so yards off the right numbers. Parkinson was in the end zone, but he got it, I believe, over his right shoulder, and then managed to stay in bounds and get over the pylon for the score. It was just a very crucial and impressive throw and catch between the two, and a gotta have it touchdown scenario. So, that about summarizes the game. Now, my thoughts and takeaways on this one, I think I've kind of shared already, but I was very impressed by the Panthers and the output, and it's not that I was disappointed by the Rams. I felt like the Rams did mostly what I was expecting, especially in that first half. But then Stafford definitely cooled off a bit. He started, I think, 7 of 8 or 9 of 10, something like that. And before you know it, all of a sudden he's below a 50% completion percentage on the day. So, yeah, definitely in that second half, this Panthers team woke up and made life difficult. It was just the first 3 drives where they could not do anything to stop the Rams. It felt like the Panthers offense, yeah. Credit to them for being resilient. Lots of early mistakes that they managed to just subside completely. This game, it felt like it was out of hand, but really it wasn't. The Panthers did a very good job of weathering the storm and took the lead late in this game. Really set themselves up for victory. And though they didn't win it, I think there's a lot of faith in Panthers fans and just a lot of credit and respect from the rest of the league towards the Panthers. Because, yeah, they didn't finish with a winning record, but this was clearly a playoff caliber team. If they could give a Rams team like this a run for their money. So, a great game to kick us off, and I'm excited to see what Bryce Young, McMillan, and Coker can do next year. I think Coker also really stood out to me as the, undrafted guy from last year's draft. He's basically supplanted Leggett as the main dude out of last year to take the center stage for this wide receiver room. And even though McMillan was their best guy this year, most consistent guy, Coker definitely flashed signs of greatness. So hats off to Young and Coker for a valiant effort, and I'll see the Rams in the divisional round. I look forward to seeing them there. After that, we get our second game of Super Wildcard Weekend, which was the Packers versus Bears game at Soldier Field, our Saturday night game. And this game was a wild journey to the finish, where we eventually saw the Bears beat the Packers 31-27, though it did not feel like they were going to pull off the comeback through 2.5 quarters of this game. Let's paint you a picture. The Bears start the game off with the ball, and they very easily drive the ball down the field. They get down into the scoring range, but the offense stumbles, it stutters, it falters a little bit once they get to the red zone, and they end up opting to take the points. So they kick a 27-yard field goal and give the ball to the Packers to operate for the first time. And the Packers, they look smooth as butter, cheeseheads, but you would have thought they were a different kind of dairy out there, the way they were just spreading the Bears defense thin. They capitalize with a Christian Watson touchdown. So they take the lead at 7-3 after their first possession. The Bears, on their subsequent drive, they pretty aggressively decide to go for it on 4th and 2. Right around midfield, we saw the Panthers make a similar decision, and the Bears, they take the risk, and it pays off, so they manage to convert. But then they're faced with another 4th, this time 4th and 6, and logic would dictate if it's more than 5 yards, you probably don't want to go for it. But Ben Johnson has the balls of a lion, so he decides we're going for it. And Caleb Williams delivers the perfect arm punt to a T. It's 4th and 6. I think they're at like the 30-yard line, roughly. And he throws it kind of towards Luther Burden, but really straight at the Carrington Valentine it was. And Valentine, if he doesn't catch this ball, they get the ball at the 30. He's at like the 4-yard line, and he does the selfish thing of like, oh, it's mine, I got it. He catches it and immediately goes down. So they essentially lose 26 yards because he got it, which I thought was funny, but needless to say, it didn't matter because once again the Packers made the Packers defense look like Swiss cheese out there. And they managed to score on a Gene Reed touchdown catch this time around. So now they're up 14-3. Then the Bears, they retake the ball. They already start dialing up the desperation plays. It's 4th and 5 at their own 32-yard line. So this isn't even like, you haven't even reached the point where the new kickoff touchback starts. This is the 32-yard line. It's 4th and 5. And they decide, let's go for it again. And once again, same outcome. They do not convert, giving the Packers the easiest field positioning imaginable. So, Love, he dials up another touchdown throw, this time to Romeo Doubs. It's like Christmas out there for these Packers wide receivers. You know, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, everybody gets a touchdown. And now there's 2 minutes left in the half. The Bears are down 21-3, and they decide, hey, we know what we did last time. We're in a far better position than we were last time. Let's go for it on 4th down one last time. If we're gonna go down, let's go down swinging. So this time, they go for it on 4th down from their own 37-yard line. Fool me twice, I can still be fooled again. Packers take over again, but this time, they miss the kick. They set up for a field goal, and McManus shanks it, so the game goes to half. Packers are up 21-3. And unfortunately for the Bears, the Packers start off with the ball in the second half. So now they can run up the score even further, but the Bears defense finally gets its head in the game and forces a 3-and-out from Jordan Love and company. The Bears then score a field goal, their first point since the opening possession, and it's followed by another Packers 3-and-out. So now the game is 21-6. The Bears are down 15 points with 8 minutes left in the third. At this point, a comeback is conceivable. They can do it. So the Bears get the ball, they move down the field, and they even get into the red zone. But they're forced to face another 4th down, and they basically dug themselves into this hole where you kind of need the points. You've been sacrificing on the field goals all game long. Time's running out. They want the points, so I think it's like 4th and 6. They're at the 15. They try and go for it. And while Caleb Williams is fading away, he throws it and throws like a little moon ball, lofts it up there, and it's grabbed by a Packers defenders who come away with no points. Once again, these guys just never learn. Then the Packers, luckily, are met with great defense, and they're forced to bunt. And that allows the Bears to score a field goal on the following possession to open up the 4th quarter. So they're inching their way back into this one, down to 15, now just down 12, and the Packers offense once again goes 3-and-out. And so the Bears, these guys are a 4th quarter team. They've known it, and their games are they're 7, they're up another 6. It is a 27-16 lead with 6.5 minutes left. So the Bears, they gotta score, and they have to score in a hurry. This is really, it's 2 possessions, being a touchdown with a 2-point conversion and a field goal. They can do it without 2 touchdowns, but the touchdown is necessary so they get the ball. And in under 2 minutes, they score on a touchdown pass to Olamide Zacchaeus. And to make things sweeter, they get the 2-point conversion with Colston Loveland. So now it's just a 3-point game. And the Packers, they understand the severity of what is about to happen. They need more points. This is going to be a very bad look. They need to force the Bears to have to go for another touchdown at the very least. Even if the Packers can't score themselves, they need a field goal to make it a 6-point lead and put the pressure on the Bears offense. So they get down into field goal range. Give McManus a very simple and easy 44-yard field goal to try and kick and put this game away potentially. And once again, Brandon McManus misses the kick. So that gives the Bears life. They, with just under 3 minutes left, decide, here we go again, and they get the ball to midfield. And then it just takes 2 plays to score again. On the go-ahead. What is that? Sorry, I thought I heard a whale. On the go-ahead touchdown. So, just like that, in a game where they were losing 21-3, the Bears have climbed all the way back into it and gotten the lead. So with 1:43 left in the game, the Packers have to go down and score a touchdown if they want to win this game. Because they are currently down 31-27. So they line up and they actually move the ball very well. They get all the way down to the 23-yard line of the Bears, and there's 22 seconds left in the game, so plenty of time to get your end zone shot. You've got an incompletion on first down, and then an incompletion on second down, and now, game on the line, 7 seconds left, no timeouts. The Packers have to throw it into the end zone. Jordan Love takes the snap and fumbles it. It goes on the ground. He very quickly is able to pick it up and grab it and scramble backwards. And it's honestly 10 seconds of scrambling, him waiting for someone to open up downfield. And finally he hucks it at the end zone, and it goes straight into the hands of a Bears defender who doesn't catch it. But that's all they needed. Time has expired. The Bears have completed the comeback. They are going to the NFL Divisional round of the playoffs. What a game. I was so hyped. I'm not a Bears fan. I simply picked the Bears to win this game. And I was at my place. Most of my friends picked the Bears, but there was one guy who picked the Packers in his bracket. And in the first half, he was pretty smug and confident. And it was fun to see in the second half, the Bears just slowly get back into it and eventually win it. The whole time, me and my other buddy were like, yeah, they're a second half team. They'll get back. Though I wasn't so sure. I mean, it looked awful. The 4th downs, they dug themselves into quite the hole. But in the end, in Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams we trust, and they did it. So here are game leaders. We've got Jordan Love, who goes 24 of 46 323 yards and 4 touchdowns. Hard to blame the guy for this loss. We've got Josh Jacobs with 19 carries for just 55 yards. And then we have Romeo Dobbs, who had 8 catches for 124 yards and a touchdown. Now for the Bears, up and down game for Caleb Williams. Not the greatest, but he got it done. He goes 24 for 48 for 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. In the run game, DeAndre Swift had 13 carries for 54 yards and a score. And we can mark this the Golston Loveland game. He leads the Bears receivers and tight ends with 8 catches for 137 yards. He was prolific, and he wins Offensive Player of the Game. In my books, he was similar to Puka Nacua in that first game, where it's like, yeah, he's having the game of his life. Everyone knows the ball is going to him, and somehow he's still open. He's still that guy. Just a great game from the rookie Loveland. And Defensive Player of the Game, I'm gonna be honest, I could not tell you who the definitive best defensive player in this game is, but I can tell you who was the worst, and it was number 6 on the Chicago Bears. That guy is burnt toast, if I've ever seen it. He is by far and away the worst guy on the field, to the point where Jordan Love got so used to targeting him. If you look on the last play of the game, when he hooks it to the end zone, I like to believe he just saw where number 6 was and was like, you know what, I'm just throwing it there. Someone will catch it. And it falls right into 6's hands, and he can't catch it. I mean, guys, just DB hands cannot stay on his receiver. His head is not on the swivel. Poor guy. I also felt really bad for the Bears. It was like every single drive, one of their players was going down. Like, I know it's Chicago, it's cold, and it's harder to get up from those hits, but there must have been like 8 guys down for the Bears. Not a pretty sight, but they battled through it. And for our play of the game goes to Caleb Williams, who on the second touchdown drive, they're down, they need to get back into it. They're faced with 4th down, like the 700th 4th down of this game, and this one is truly like a gotta have it. So they go for it, and this guy, Caleb Williams, is being chased. He rolls out to his left. He's falling off of his back foot. He throws it. So it's like a fadeaway running to the left side. And gets it perfectly 20 yards down the field to Roma Dunse before he goes out of bounds. Like the definition of a perfect pass. I was appalled. I mean, it was just so clutch. 27 yards to be specific. Unreal throw. And that's, if you live by Caleb Williams, you die by him. Sometimes you get that first and second, really it's the second interception where he was trying to make a play and just didn't go his way. To see a flip side of that where he gets out of the pocket, does something wild, and it's just some of the greatest football you've seen. Yeah, that brings us to my thoughts and takeaways. I mean, this Bears team is unreal. The way that they can keep doing this. I kept thinking, like, this is not a sustainable brand of football. I had a feeling like the Packers these are small fish to fry. They could handle this opponent. But when they got down 21-3, I was like, oh, yeah, the Packers get the ball again. They have the ball to end the first half. They get the ball at the start of the second. Yikes, this could be bad. It was giving me flashbacks to the Vikings game to start off the season. But, hey man, they did it. They did it in Chicago style. What a game. I really like the handshake from Ben Johnson, Matt LaFleur at the end of the game. I mean, Ben Johnson nearly, he was celebrating so hard he fell over, gripped himself and a reporter, or a camera woman. And, it's the quickest handshake. It's just like a, good game. And the rivalry is strong. Sad. I don't like that team, and I think we need that in the NFL. Opening day press conference. Ben Johnson said, I kind of miss, I will miss beating Matt LaFleur. Or no, he didn't say I miss it. He said, I like beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. And he did exactly that once again. Ends the Packers season. I don't know. At points I thought he was biting off more than he could chew. Some of these fourth down decisions. Outrageous. I hope they have learned at least a little bit to temper their aggression. But I can't argue with the results. So, congrats to the Bears and Packers. Yeah, man, no one is going to question the quarterback. I feel like QB-wise loved everything he could. All the wide receivers had a pretty good game. It's really just the health of, maybe you could say, Josh Jacobs. If he was healthy, this game could look a little different. If obviously you have Micah, you might think the game looks different, but you can only deal with the team that you have, and just offense stalled in the second half one too many times. And I think McManus is gone. That many missed kicks in a playoff game like this. He's already pretty old. That'll be the final nail in his coffin, so I think we can kiss his Packers tenure goodbye. Alright, so that brings us to our next game. On a Sunday morning, we have the Bills versus the Jaguars. Our first AFC matchup of the weekend, and this one went to the Bills' favor. They end up winning 27-24 over the Jags. And the story of the game here is the two teams starting off great bunts, no offense to begin this game. And then on the Jaguars' second possession, Trevor Lawrence throws a pick. So, Jags defense has to do something to prevent the early hole. And luckily, they give up just 1 yard on the following possession with the Bills. So the Bills are forced to kick a field goal. Jaguars then charge down the field and score on a Brian Thomas Jr. touchdown, taking the 7-3 lead. After that, we see All-Pro first-teamer Ray Davis take the kickoff and fumble it. So the Jags are set up pretty nicely. Just 2 possessions ago, it looked bad for them. Now they have the opportunity to go up 14-3, but they're met with a 4th down in the red zone, and they opt to go for it rather than taking the points. And the Bills' defense stands tall, so the Bills take over at their own 8-yard line, and the offense drives the ball 92 yards, capped off with a Josh Allen signature touchdown run. So, Bills get back ahead 10-7. Both teams trade bunts, and the Jags end the half with a missed field goal from Cam Little. I mean, they were talking Cam Little is a weapon out there. He can hit it from 68, from 67. I think they line him up for a 54-yarder and he misses it. So, there goes that. In the second half, it opens up with both teams kicking field goals, making it a 13-10 game in favor of the Bills. Then the Bills, they go 3-0, and the Jags retake the lead with a Parker Washington touchdown. The Bills immediately strike back with a touchdown to Dalton Kincaid, making it 20-17 in their favor. The Jags then run down the clock and they score a touchdown, not a field goal, on a Travis Etienne catch and run. So they take the late lead, go up 24-20. So now it's Bills ball, 4 minutes left. Tony Romo saying, "Here we go, this is it." And I think, who was it with him? Nance. Yeah, Nance was like, I think we know, Tony. I think we know how to watch football. We understand. But, Bills, they get the ball. They turn the clock. They construct a very impressive drive and get all the way down to the goal line. And really, they get to a first and goal situation at the 1. And you're wondering, like I was personally wondering, is it worth it to try and get the stop and just hope that your defense can stop them 4 straight times here? Or do you let them in and give your offense a chance with a minute left while there's still some time on the clock? And it seems like, yeah, Liam Cohen was thinking the exact same thing, because they don't even try to stop the tush push. They just let Josh Allen in. None of the linebackers. They're like, oh, not my job. And so, Bills take the lead 27-21, and now it's the Jags' turn to put together a game-winning drive. They have 1 minute on the clock, slightly under a minute. Trevor Lawrence drops back for his first pass and throws it to, I forget who exactly, I think it was Jacoby Myers. Perfect blanket coverage by Tre'Davious White. The ball pops up and Cole Bishop snags the interception to seal the deal, and the Bills win the game. They are going to the divisional round, and they are ending the Jaguars season. Another movie of a game. I mean, all 3 games to start off the playoffs. Bangers, absolute bangers, coming down to the final 5 minutes of the game. So many lead switches. You have to be excited. This is not a Super Wildcard Weekend to mess around with. So, our game leaders here, we had from Buffalo, Josh Allen going 28 of 35 for 273 yards and a touchdown. James Cook with 15 carries for just 46 yards. He was bottled up against the best rushing defense in the league. That's what they pride themselves as, and they showed why. And then we had Khalil Shakir with 12 catches for 82 yards. As for the Jags, Trevor Lawrence, he was 18 of 30 for 207 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. In the running game, Travis Etienne had 10 carries for 67 yards. Him and Bashal were effective runners, very effective getting big chunk plays. And then we had Parker Washington as the main guy for Trevor Lawrence. He finished the game with 7 catches for 107 yards and a score. Now, as much as I would like to give Parker Washington Offensive Player of the Game, I think that will have to go to Josh Allen. As I said once before, 273 passing yards and a throwing touchdown to Kincaid. And he also topped it off with 33 rushing yards and 2 rush touchdowns. Playoff Josh Allen is just a different beast. You know it's coming, and there's little to nothing you can do about it. And then for defensive player of the game, I'd have to go Tre'Davious White here. You know, a couple seasons ago, it kind of looked like Trey White's career was over, in my opinion. He's getting passed around the league. He tore his ACL a few seasons ago. He ended his long stint with the Bills who drafted him, then went to a couple teams. I think most recently was with the Rams, and when that ended, he got picked back up by the Bills. But, vintage Trey White game. He finished with 2 tackles, 3 pass pickups, and the most important play of the game on Jacoby Myers to end it. So, without his coverage on that, Cole Bishop can't get the swipe and seal the deal for the Bills. So, great job by Trey White for sending the Jags home. And then play of the game, this would have to be on that game-winning drive by the Bills. Josh Allen had a 36-yard completion to Brandon Cooks, and it was only first down. I'll say that. It wasn't like 4th down like Caleb Williams' throw. There was a free runner running completely free at Josh Allen right up the middle of the O-line, it looked like. And Allen's just standing there in the pocket, anticipating the hit, and very calmly chucks it downfield to a wide open Brandon Cooks, like 40-year-old, obviously not 40, but like an ancient Brandon Cooks, to move them from like beyond midfield to very clearly scoring range. So I think while it didn't change the outcome of the game, it was the play that set up, like, you knew they were going to score once they got that play off. So huge play by Cooks and by Josh Allen, just excellent composure. So that brings us to my thoughts and takeaways on this one. The Jags, I think they really did do a good job of limiting the run game. They forced Josh Allen to pass a lot, and they just had broken coverage at times. I think Brandon Cooks and Khalil Shakir, even Keon Coleman on that one catch and run, they allowed them to operate with too much space. But for a team that was really good at defending against the run, we did see that. And they did do a decent job of putting Josh Allen on the ground. I believe Joshua Hines Allen finished with 2 sacks of his own in this game. So the Josh Allen versus Josh Allen competition, it was another great matchup between the two. Offensively, they competed, but yeah, those 2 interceptions were a little bit killer. Mostly the second one took what could have been a great final drive away from us immediately. Guess they could have either gone for a field goal, tied the game, taken it at OT, or maybe won the whole thing right in regular time. So, unfortunate, but I don't think it's a bad game by any means by Trevor Lawrence and company. Overall, the Jags, they came out, they competed, but they were just met with a really, really good quarterback on the other side of the field, and so it is what it is. The Bills move on. Then we get the second game of the Sunday slate, which was the 49ers versus Eagles matchup. And this game, surprisingly in my opinion, did end up going in the 49ers way. They win 23-19. And let's talk about it. San Francisco, they kick things off with an opening drive touchdown to Demarcus Robinson in a series where he burned Quinyon Mitchell for a 61-yard catch and a run. I mean, it was he had one play on Quinyon Mitchell, and then he scored the touchdown on Quinyon Mitchell. And I was in the family group chat being like, damn, this guy's first team All-Pro. What's going on here? He's getting cooked by Demarcus Robinson. And then the Eagles, on their first drive, they respond with a Dallas Goedert rushing touchdown to score. But then Jake Elliott misses the point after attempt, which he tends to do in the playoffs. So it's now 7-6 in favor of the 49ers, and the next two drives feature 49er 3-and-outs and a turnover on downs by the Eagles. So we have Niners 3-and-out, turnover on downs, and then Niners 3-and-out. So by the next time the Eagles get the ball back, they're able to construct a healthy drive, and they decide to go for it on 4th and 2 from the San Francisco 9-yard line. And we've seen how 4th down has gone for all these teams in Wildcard Weekend thus far. A lot of teams overly ambitious, not settling for the points. It's blowing up in their faces. The Eagles, on the other hand, they get the opposite end of the spectrum. Not only do they pick up the first down, but they score the touchdown as well. So that marks 2 touchdowns for the tight end Dallas Goedert. And this time, Elliott is able to knock it through the uprights. So they're now winning 13-7 over the 49ers. We then get Eddie Pinheiro on the following drive with a 36-yard touchdown to cut the lead to 10-13 as the game heads into halftime. To open up the third, we have an Eagles 3-and-out followed by a Brock Purdy interception thrown to Quinyon Mitchell. It was at this point that my dad texted me, "Looks like he heard you." And I didn't respond quite yet, but then the teams, the Eagles and the 49ers, they traded punts once again. And when the Eagles get the balls back a second time, they managed to score a 41-yard field goal, so extending their lead 16-10. Wait. Is that right? Yeah, that is right. And then we get San Francisco getting the ball in the 4th, and they use some trickery, a play that we saw in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, to get Juwan Jennings on a trick play, throwing the ball to Christian McCaffrey, and McCaffrey dragging it over his shoulder and catching it for the touchdown. Juwan Jennings gets absolutely blasted on the throw because Brock Purdy was not blocking, and the 49ers take the lead 17-16. So now the Eagles, they have a chance to retake the lead. They go 3-and-out, no surprise. And on the following drive, Brock Purdy throws it to Quinyon Mitchell again. So it's at this point I text my dad back, yeah, I guess he really did hear me. Big game for Quinyon moment. Then the Eagles, they capitalize with a field goal to go up 19-17. And the 49ers, they lock in, they get all the way down to the red zone without facing a single third down. And then on first and down and second goal, they can't get it. And on third and goal, they finally managed to punch it in on a second Christian McCaffrey touchdown score. This time, all through the air again. So the Niners take the late lead, 23-19. And now it is Jalen Hurts' time to prove himself. 4 games so far, 4 base basically game-winning drives on the line. We saw Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford get it done, and we saw, I guess, Caleb Williams, Josh Allen, and Matthew Stafford get it done. We saw Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence. You know, the lights were low too bright. They couldn't do much. Jordan Love tried his best, but couldn't quite punch it in. So it's up to Jalen Hurts. What category of quarterback is he going to get looped in with? That first group or that second group? So he has a chance to prove he belongs amongst the Matthew Staffords and the Josh Allens as a Super Bowl MVP. And they pick up 44 yards on their drive. But then they're forced with a 4th and 11 just outside the red zone. And Jalen Hurts takes aim for Dallas Goedert, but the pass has no chance. Gets batted down, and the game is over. They turn it over on downs. 49ers are advancing to the divisional round, and the Eagles are out of the playoffs, losing all hope of repeating as champions. I'm not going to say there was no chance the 49ers were winning it. Internally, I was rooting for the 49ers, but this was the one upset of all the games so far. I really did think, with how the Niners were depleted on both sides of the ball, that it would come back to bite them playing on the road in not so ideal conditions, but they were resilient, and Kevin Patullo, the Eagles offense is not good enough. We got some key stats in this one. Here we saw Brock Purdy, 18 of 31 for 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, both to Quinyon Mitchell. We saw Christian McCaffrey run the ball not that well, 15 carries for 48 yards. And DeMarcus Robinson was the game of the year for him. Maybe the game of the last 2 years for him. 6 catches for 111 yards. And 1 touchdown. As for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts goes 20 of 35 for 168 yards and 1 touchdown. We see Saquon Barkley with 26 carries for 106 yards. And Devontae Smith with 8 catches for 70 yards. Offensive player of the game, I would say this has to go to Christian McCaffrey. 2 touchdown catches, over 100 yards from scrimmage. The offensive engine of this team all year long. No matter who goes down, as long as you have Christian McCaffrey, you can win games. If you're the 49ers, and you proved it once again. Now they were so banged up on offense. George Kittle goes down with an Achilles injury. I think they confirmed he tore it and he's done for the year. Pearsall didn't play in this game. You've got the year defensive injuries. They just never end. The injuries never stop for the 49ers. And yet, here they are. Right back where they were 2 years ago. One more round further, and it's really nothing stopping this team. But, yeah, for the defensive player of the game, I know they didn't win it, but it's got to be Quinyon Mitchell. Terrible opening series to start them off, looking like DeMarcus Robinson looking like an NFL all-pro first teamer, but really just turned on the clamps in the second half. Those 2 picks were huge. If the Eagles had a better offense, they would have capitalized on them, but he put them in winning situation. It's just the other side could not do anything. Play of the game has to be the trick play with Juwan Jennings throwing the touchdown to Christian McCaffrey to give them the lead. And my thoughts and takeaways on this one. Yeah, Kevin Patullo fired. It's overdue. The guy's not good. The offense just has looked miserable under his reign. They looked so good last year with Kellen Moore. I was presented with one of the scariest thoughts imaginable. Mike McDaniels. Mike McDaniel fired by the Dolphins, and so now he's looking for a new coaching gig. And I was talking about oh yeah, it'll be cool to see him return to OC for some team because I think that's what he does best. And my friend was like, yeah, imagine him coaching the Eagles offense. And immediately I was like, oh no, that is a horrifying thought to go from Kevin Padula to a guy like Mike McDaniel that would make this Eagles team scary to play against. I wouldn't know. If I'm the Eagles, I'm definitely making that call, but for the sake of the rest of the league, I hope it doesn't happen. Offensive coordinator aside, the Eagles have a huge A.J. Brown problem. I mean, it's just, the team wins, he's unhappy. The team loses, he's still unhappy. He's calling for the ball, he gets the ball, and he just doesn't perform. He had some critical drops in this game. He got targeted on back-to-back plays towards the end of the first half. Both really seemed catchable, and he didn't catch either. And then he comes yelling on the sideline. I mean, Sirianni did come down yelling at him, I guess, to get off the field. And in response, A.J. Brown was also yelling. But if you're A.J. Brown on that case, what do you have to yell about? You were given the ball twice on back-to-back plays, and you failed. You can't beg for the ball and then be shit when you are actually called upon. Same thing on the last drive of the game. It's 3rd and 5. Perfect ball delivered right in the hands of A.J. Brown, and it goes completely through his hands. What are they paying you that money for? To be a crybaby on the sideline? I really don't get it. But it wouldn't be an Eagles game if there wasn't an A.J. Brown crash out on the sidelines. And I just wonder how much more they're willing to put up with. Who is going to give out first? I mean, obviously, in the post-game presser, Sirianni mentions that him and A.J. Brown have a unique relationship. They laugh together, they cry together, they yell at each other. It's worth noting that both of Sirianni's kids had A.J. Brown jerseys on, so they've got some sick, twisted relationship. But it feels like someone's gonna give it, and it's probably gonna be A.J. Brown going to another team. I know there were rumors about the Vrabel and A.J. Brown reconnection. At this current point in time, I'm out. I don't know. I think there were slight concerns about Stephon Diggs and him coming into that locker room just with his history and, being a diva, forcing his way off a couple teams in the past with the Vikings and the Bills. The majority was questionable, but then he got there, really bought into the culture, seemed grown up, and I think he's become a big vocal leader. I don't think A.J. Brown is at that level yet. I think it is completely me first. I think he needs to get traded to a bottom feeder team where he can ball out and win 4 games, but maybe break the catching record. And yeah, I maybe that will force him to grow up. I don't know, but I'm gonna offer his antics. Yeah, I think he really did. I mean, Padula and him limited the upside for this Eagles offense because they were good enough, I think, to go back to the NFC Championship game. The path, you had this 49ers defense that's banged up, and after this, you would have played a Bears defense that I don't think is that impressive. Bears offense, they managed to somehow get it done, but the Bears Packers defense and the Niners defense. I don't think those are two of the worst defenses in the postseason. So it was very easy to get to the championship game, in my opinion. So the fact that you couldn't even do the first round, yeah, you deserve to get bounced. And that's that. So that brings us to the Chargers versus Patriots game on Sunday Night Football. And while this game was also somewhat close, probably the worst to watch, at least thus far, not high-flying action. Kinda came down to the last little bit, but compared to the other games, this was a blowout, and this was a defensive game, so not nearly as riveting as some of the previous games, but I was obviously on the edge of my seat the entire game, stress relief. But the Patriots end up taking it home, winning 16-3 over the Chargers in a defensive battle. Story of this game, we have the Patriots receiving the opening kickoff, then punting, followed by a Chargers punt, and then the Patriots run quickly into disaster. Drake May throws on the second play of the drive. The ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage, goes straight into the hands of Rams, but Chargers defender sets them up nicely at first and goal at the 10-yard line. The Chargers, interestingly, run on a quarterback draw. Like 3 straight plays, we see Justin Herbert run 3 straight times. And now it is 4th and goal. And they're right there, so the Chargers decide to go for it. And this is the first time they pass. It falls incomplete. So Patriots take over deep into their own territory. And they drive the ball all the way down the field to the other goal line. But they get stopped, so they can either learn from the Chargers and take the points, or they can make the same mistake, and they choose to take the points. The Patriots take the 3-0 lead. After that, the Chargers take the ball, construct a drive of their own, and tie it up 3-3. From then on, both teams trade punts again. And now, with 31 seconds left in the first half, the Patriots have a chance to maybe get into field goal range. So, they try their best. And the coverage is unreal. Coverage has been unreal by this Chargers secondary all game long. Drake May has under 50% completion percentage. And so he just ducks it and runs, and he picks up 37 big yards to put the Patriots in field goal range. They kick it through and go up 6-3 at halftime. After halftime, the Chargers get the ball, and they go straight to a 3-and-out. And then the Patriots make it all the way down the field into the red zone. But Drake May fumbles after being stripped in the pocket. So they come away with no points. The Chargers then are forced to punt again, and the Patriots run up the score, adding a 3rd field goal to their total on the game. So they now win 9-3. At this point, the Chargers, they've got a chance to, respond. It's still anyone's game. You score 1 touchdown, you have the lead. But they forced to punt again. So the Patriots grab a hold of this opportunity, and they finally get a score in. We see our first touchdown of the game on a Drake May connection to Hunter Henry in the 4th quarter. So now the Chargers, they really have to lock in. Down 13 points with 9 minutes left. It's still doable. But on this drive, Justin Herbert gets the ball, and he gets absolutely demolished by 2 different Patriots defenders. The ball comes out, Herbert he's laying lifelessly on the ground, and the Patriots recover. The Patriots unfortunately can't do anything with it. They go 3-0. So the Chargers have one last glimmer of hope. They move the ball down to the New England 34-yard line, but now it's 2 minutes left, and they're faced with a 4th and 9. So you're gonna have to pick up the touchdown, kick the onside kick, convert it, and then score another touchdown. But now all depends on this 4th down play. So Herbert drops back to pass, and with the season on the line, Moten Williams charges up the middle of the offensive line, basically untouched, and just sacks him, puts him on the ground, and wins the game for the Patriots. It's over. Game clinching sack. They take victory formation snaps, and it's done. Rough game. I'm not saying Justin Herbert performance-wise rough, just the hits that he was taking. This is one of the most brutal beatdowns on a quarterback that I think I've witnessed. Like, they were hitting him so hard. I honestly felt bad once they fell behind 2 touchdowns. Obviously, I was still rooting for him to get sacked, but every time he did, I was like, man, obviously I wouldn't be able to take any of those sacks, but like the will to keep playing when you know your offensive line is that garbage must be so strong. Justin Herbert in this one, he finishes 19 of 31 for 159 yards, no touchdowns by this offense. Drake May on the other hand, 17 of 29 for 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 268 yards in total. Then we have Herbert as the leading rusher for the Chargers with 10 carries for 57 yards, and Drake May as the leading rusher for the Patriots with 10 carries for 66 yards. I believe at one point Chris Collinsworth did say, whichever quarterback ends up being more mobile, picking up more yards with his feet, is likely going to be the one that walks away with the dub, and he was right. May, both guys, scrambling specialists this year. May, I felt like his decision making on all of the plays except for, even the fumble one, it wasn't really his fault. It was on the blind side. Looped around, knocked the ball free before he could really do anything about it. I think his ability to discern when to tuck it and run was phenomenal, because he picked up so many yards when the coverage was just way too good. So yeah, both quarterbacks used that to their advantage, but Herbert, I think, less effectively. He picked up a lot in those last 2 drives, that last drive in particular, but couldn't get to it as quickly as May was able to. For the Chargers receivers, we saw Ladd McConkey with 3 catches for 32 yards, and for the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson with 3 catches for 75 yards. Our offensive player of the game is going to be Ramondre Stevenson. He was an all-around great player for the Pats in this one. 10 carries for 53 yards, 3 catches for 75 yards. Great balance, great blocking ability, and I have to admit, I was wrong about Ramondre. Preseason, looking at on all the numbers, Ramondre I thought was a clear candidate to get his job stolen by Henderson. And even in the early season with the fumbles, I was infuriated with the coaching staff. But he has shown why he can be a positive playmaker. And he has the ability to run, he has the ability to catch, great balance, and he's an exceptional blocker. So when he's not fumbling, he really can be a valuable asset. So the second half turnaround from Stevenson, I want to say like week 6 onwards, very commendable. He got hurt. Henderson took all the snaps, was a breakout candidate. And And Stevenson still found a role for himself, and they've got a great 1-2 punch. So I went from being a Ramondre Stevenson hater to very much respecting him. I think that he has been very valuable for this year and deserves a lot of credit. Defensive player of the game. Now, I would love to give this to, how do I say it? Udafe Owe. 3 sacks, lots of pressures, smothered Drake May at times in this game. I think that his contributions cannot be understated. It was a wrecking ball. I mean, even Khalil Mack pushing Will Campbell back into the quarterback a couple of times. We had Derek Dart tearing it up in the middle of the field. I had no idea he could drop back into coverage like that for such a big guy. He was getting pass breakups, really clogging up the middle of the field. But Owe was just something else, man. Got that forced fumble as well. But in a game where the Patriots allowed 3 points against this Chargers offense, I will lean. I mean, this is biased, but I'm going to go with Christian Ellis. I think Christian Ellis in this game was spectacular as a spy on Justin Herbert. His closeout speed really forced him into tough decisions. I feel like a lot of times when a quarterback's out of the pocket, you see guys like Josh Allen, they still find a way to make that play. They get out, they're being chased on the run, they deliver a strike to the end zone. There were a couple times where he had the opportunity to pass to Keenan Allen or something like that, and Ellis just did a good enough job of making Herbert uncomfortable that it went incomplete. The throw was off target or had to be a throwaway. He finished the game with 8 tackles, a pass breakup, and a fumble recovery and a QB hit. So, all in all, great game from him. The Patriots defense as a whole, just what a performance. And for the play of the game, I would go with Drake May's 28-yard touchdown pass to Hunter Henry. He dropped it perfectly in the bucket. It was so picturesque. I mean, over the outstretched hand of Derwin James. Derwin James went like fully extended trying to get it. It was just perfectly over him to Hunter Henry in for 6. The only score of the game. Yeah, my thoughts and takeaways for this one. Just what a game by Zach Gore. Cannot call a better defensive game than that. It was spectacular. Linebackers were zipping around the field. Marcus Jones and Christian Gonzalez locking up their guys pretty well. I mean, Jones, I guess he had a couple catches up, but made big plays in other ways. I think he had some good closeouts, and he had the one forced fumble. Carlton Davis had that one DPI, but outside of that, I felt like he did pretty well as well. Just this group of linebackers is really impressive game from them. Run game had nothing. Lots of pressure on Herbert and just ravenous pursuit of the quarterback. Put him down, 5 times. Each time he got put down, the next sack was harder. Great game by Milton Williams as well. That's why they paid him all that money. Yeah, just obviously looked like the best defensive performance of all the games. Chargers, second best defensive performance of all the games in the Wildcard Weekend till this point. But they just got met with an unreal scheme. So hats off to the Patriots defense for what they were able to do, and to Drake May for just being able to tuck it and run when needed. Still kept his eyes down the field. But amazing ability to know when's the right time to extend the play with his legs. And yeah, he did have that one big miss to Austin Hooper, but made up for it with the touchdown pass eventually. And Herbert, he was beating himself up after the game, but it's not his fault. Not his fault at all. This is totally like his offensive line just left him out to dry. This is 3 different postseason losses for Herbert, and he's lost in every conceivable way. Just blown lead, 4 interceptions, and now no line. So, conquers one demon, and now he faces a new one. They fired Greg Roman, and I think that was the right call. I don't think Greg Roman was really doing them that many favors. I'm interested in seeing who they bring in, because Herbert is a exceptional talent, but yeah, he just couldn't do anything here. And finally, that brings us to our final game, which was the Texans versus the Steelers on Monday night. I totally have the game score wrong on here, but this one was a big victory in favor of the Texans. I have the copy and pasted score of the Patriots game, 30-6. Okay, yeah, 30-6 in favor of the Texans. But don't let it fool you. This game was very close. To start off, the teams traded punts, and then the Steelers were the first to score on a field goal. After that, the Texans dialed up the trick play and had a failed flea flicker that the Steelers jumped on. So it was a fumble. Steelers get the ball, but they go 3 and out. After that, on the next drive, the Texans get 92 yards down the field and score the first touchdown in the game thanks to Christian Kirk. And then we see another Steelers 3 and out and another Texans fumble. CJ Stroud in this year had, 0 fumbles all year long, maybe 1 fumble, 2 in the first half. So just unreal luck for him. And then we see the Steelers kick another field goal, and the game goes to half. Texans leading 7-6. The Texans open the second half with a interception right around the goal line. So CJ Stroud and company, they led a good drive all the way down, bad throw, and the Steelers take over. And then it's just all punts from both teams the rest of the way through the third quarter. So that brings us to the fourth. The fourth quarter, the Texans open with a field goal, make it 10-6. Anyone's game still. And on the next drive, the Steelers get crushed. Aaron Rodgers gets crushed by that Texans D-line on 3rd and 12. Sheldon Rankins gets the ball, picks it up, and scores to make it 17-6. So now they were down 11. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, they do nothing. They do nothing with the ball. The Texans get the ball back with the intentions to waste time, run out the clock, and they're so effective that they actually go all the way down the field and score on the legs of Woody Marks. So now it's 24-6. And they just have to do something. The game's already gotten away from them. Steelers go into desperation mode. Rodgers tries to make a play, but down the field, and he just hasn't been able to do it all game long. Nothing is different this time around. Kalen Bullock, he intercepts the ball and runs it back for another defensive score, and now it's 30-6. And that's Aaron Rodgers' final play. An interception, a pick 6, much like his mentor Brett Favre, known for a lot of pick 6s. Kind of fitting that Rodgers' potentially last play of his career will also end in a pick 6. So, Texans, they get the win. Heading into the fourth, it was 7-6. They end up winning 30-6 to move on to the divisional round. Key stats for this game, we've got CJ Stroud going 21 of 32 for 250 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Aaron Rodgers, he goes 17 of 33 for 146 and a pick. Woody marks his first 100 rushing yard day. He finishes with 19 carries for 112 yards and 1 touchdown. Jalen Warren, he gets 12 carries for 43 yards. And Christian Kirk with the huge day. Nico Collins exits the game with a concussion, I believe. I'll be honest, I didn't catch much of this game because on Mondays I have a meeting that runs late till like 9 p.m. So I tried my best to keep up with the score, but this is the one game where I couldn't watch it because I do have to pay attention in that meeting. So I was watching the highlights and I was like, damn, Christian Kirk, I don't know you could ball out like that. And on the other side, DK Metcalf, leading receiver with 2 catches for 42 yards. And offensive player of the game, it will be going to Christian Kirk. I mean, just every big play that you can think of for the Texans offense, thanks to Christian Kirk. He was just always open, made huge plays, got the 1 score. And then defensive player of the game, I'm giving it to Sheldon Rankins. I think it could go a lot of different ways. But Rankins, he finishes with 1 tackle, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss. And I think the play of the game, which was the fumble return for a touchdown, because at that point, it's 7-6. It's 10-6. It's 10-6 in favor of the Texans. It's really anyone's game, but by stripping it and scoring it on the defensive side of the ball, blew the game wide open. Now it's 17-6, completely different ball game with that amount of time left. I think was the difference maker in this one. Because had that not happened, who knows? It could have gone the Steelers' way, but that single play changed the entire game. So, huge performance by Sheldon Rankins, amongst many others on that Steelers defense. And yeah, my thoughts from this one. Oh boy. Texans get the win, but they have a lot on offense that they need to work on. I don't know what kind of drugs their center was hopped up on, but he did not look good. He was snapping the ball horribly. CJ Stroud had 5 fumbles in this game, even though I think 2, it was only 2 that were recovered by the other team, but just so many errant snaps, mishandlings of the ball. CJ Stroud total 3 turnovers. It's rare that you have more turnovers and still win the game. So it really just speaks volumes to how good this defense is. Offense put up 16 points, but the defense put up 14. This is the scariest defense, I'd say, by far, of all the defensive performances that were there. You go Texans, then Patriots, and then Jaguars. This is just, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle. But they are showing why they are in the playoffs. Because that was brutal, especially in the 4th quarter. Just blown up all game long. They were making life hell for Aaron Rodgers. I did not see a single 3rd and manageable. It was always 3rd and 7, 3rd and 12, and the Steelers were dialing up like 3-4 yard chunk plays, and it turned into nothing. So yeah, great game by this Texans defense. Really all credit to them and Christian Kirk. I think offensively they'll have some things to work on, but good takeaways as well, like Woody Marks' game. And then for the Steelers, you get DK Metcalf back, and in the 1st quarter it looks promising, but then he has that drop, and it's like he didn't even exist for the rest of the game. Bad year to be a big body wide receiver, AJ Brown, now DK Metcalf. Both guys just disappointing when the season matters most. Can't really keep their emotions contained. DK benching fans. AJ looks like he's gonna punch his coach. It's not good for the Ole Miss boys. Mike Tomlin. Aaron Rodgers already rumored to be retiring prior to the season starting. We knew that. This game finishes, everyone's wondering, like, yeah, are they gonna fire Mike Tomlin? It's 7 straight games with postseason berths, but no wins. That's the longest record ever. What's gonna happen? Mike Tomlin bites the bullet himself. He takes himself out of the building, steps down as the Steelers coach after 18 years. I think it was. This is somewhat related, somewhat not related. Obviously, Steelers almost didn't make it to the playoffs, and it was thanks to a Tyler Loop kick. And so we saw the Ravens let go of John Harbaugh, and then I think it was like the president or GM, someone on, maybe the owner of the Ravens was asked, like, had you guys made the playoffs, do you still have John Harbaugh? And he said, yeah, for one more week. Which is a baller answer to be like, yeah, no, this guy is barbecue chicken either way. We're gonna fire him no matter what. And it takes guts to say that. But I think it would be hilarious to see Mike Tomlin take over as the Ravens head coach, just because the rivalry aspect of it brings into the building all the knowledge of the Steelers culture and everything that they've hated for the last 18 years. End of an era. Definitely an end of a coaching era in the AFC North. 2 coaches that I won't miss, but I look forward to seeing where they land. And if Mike Tomlin really still coaches, I think he still has good football left in him. But if he wants to walk away, I wouldn't be mad at it. He did his job. Never had a losing season. If he wants to keep that streak alive, makes sense. It'll be interesting to see how the Steelers tackle this offseason, because now you have a quarterback and a coaching issue. It was always just Tomlin kind of keeping you around to go for a hard reset. Kind of went all in on this year, and it ended up the same way as all other years, so I don't know. I think you could go for a clean slate. Kind of like the Pat Riley Heat. They've never gone for a real reboot because they've always been playoff contenders. So, do you finally give in? I'm not sure. I don't know what the trajectory is for this team, but it was a nice last ride for Aaron Rodgers. Not really. It was a horrible last game, but at least he made the playoffs. And the Texans, they'll be a formidable matchup. Our schedule for the divisional round, it's now set. We've got on Saturday, January 17th at 1:30 p.m. PST, the Bills versus the Broncos. Then Saturday night, we've got Texans versus Patriots. Oh wait, no, I'm reading that wrong. Then Saturday night, we have 49ers versus Seahawks at 5 p.m. Sunday at noon, we have Texans versus Patriots. And then Sunday afternoon, we've got Rams versus Bears. Fun slate of games, a little bit different than what I was expecting. I went 5-1 in the divisional round. Had all the games right except for the Eagles and the Niners game. So my bracket is a little bit funky, but that's fine. We'll see how it progresses in terms of the AFC. This is what I was expecting. I think it'll really be between the Broncos D-line and Josh Allen. Josh Allen, some of the fewest throwaways in the league. The Broncos, the highest number of sacks and pressures. So it's really just how much are they able to connect on those hits? How much are they able to get him on the ground? If he's able to get out of the pocket and extend plays, then maybe they can win that game. But if they're able to get those pressures off and actually force him onto the ground, which is a very hard thing to do, then they can be successful offensively. Bo Nix going against this Bills defense. They're one of the better pass defending teams. I don't think that the Bills' rushing offense is as impressive, so we'll have to see. Home field advantage will play a big part. But my gut goes, of all the quarterbacks that are in the AFC heading into that wildcard weekend, the only one that's made a deep playoff run and is currently in his prime is Josh Allen. It's very hard to count out the best quarterback that's there. As great as Drake May, C.J. Stroud, and Bo Nix are, they're all in year 1, year 2, year 3. Allen's the only seasoned peppered vet that has made a championship game. He knows what it takes to get there. He knows how to do it. I don't think the lights will be too bright for him, so I'm going to go with the Bills. Then Texans, Patriots. It's going to be a defensive nightmare of a matchup. I mean, both teams balled out. Obviously, player-wise, I'm going to Texans in terms of that defensive personnel. But the way that the Patriots defense operated, it was very impressive. So, it could go either way. Offensively, I think that the Patriots have a pretty significant advantage. My biggest concerns for both teams are the concussion protocol guys. Got Nico Collins, maybe you're going to miss this game. And then you have Christian Gonzalez, maybe you're going to miss this game. So maybe those cancel out. We'll have to see. Who breaks containment, who doesn't. But I think the Patriots just went against a pretty good defense, and they showed they could overcome it. The Texans, they made a lot more mistakes. Between all the fumbles and the pick, I think they looked a lot more scatterbrained. So I'm going to go with the Patriots beating the Texans to advance. And then in the NFC, 49ers versus Seahawks. Originally, with the way I had things panning out, it would be LA coming to visit the Seahawks. And I think that was a hard matchup for them. I think LA's the one team that, maybe gives Sam Darnold those nightmares. But with the 49ers, you just beat them 2 weeks ago. In a similar situation, you now get a week of rest. And they're even more battered and bruised than when you last saw them. Yes, they get the big moral victory in Philly, and those stats come up, anytime Kyle Shanahan's in the postseason, he makes the NFC Championship game, and that's true. But how much can you operate on Christian McCaffrey alone? It's like George Kittle's down. Last time we saw you against the Seahawks defense, it was ugly, and now you have even less weapons. So I think the Seahawks, it'll be the same result. I have them winning this game. And finally, that leaves us with the Rams and the Bears. And I've said this before, the Bears play an extremely dangerous brand of football. And if you do that again against the best offense in the Rams, I don't know that you can overcome whatever lead they surmount. Last week it was 21-3 against the Packers. Matthew Stafford can and most probably will win the MVP. So if you let him have 4 touchdown passes on the first half, as much as Iceman is a real thing, it might be too hot to handle. I will have to see how the Rams fare playing in the cold, though, because Chicago was frigid last week, and that could cause a little bit more difficulty on the Rams players. We're used to playing in sunny California. But yeah, I don't have faith in really both defenses. I don't have much faith in. Rams defense did not end the year on a high note, but the Bears defense also not great. Just good at generating turnovers, but between the 4th down plays and the leads, I am leaning Rams. So my predictions for the championship games will be an AFC East matchup and an NFC West matchup. I've got Bills, Patriots, and Seahawks, Rams, and that about does it for us. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down below how you did on Wildcard Weekend. What was your favorite game? What was the biggest upset in your opinion? And watching, and I will see you next time.